You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome back to another fascinating episode of Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I am a certified life and career coach. Our program is live streaming on Business Talk Radio and social media. And without further ado, let's bring out Aminah. Hello.
Hi, so glad to see you. I look forward to Fridays every single week. I hope you do too.
I do too. We have a lot of fun on this show, and yet at the same time, we give a lot of good information.
Gosh, I hope so. I mean, there's just so much out there to share, and I love that we're getting it out there, and I enjoy having everybody else listening.
I do too. So I'm going to spotlight you and put your banner up. Why don't you give a little bit of background to the folks out there about what it is you do, Aminah?
Well, I am a pet psychic by birth, and just a small plug, we're going to talk more at the end, but on March 5th, I'm actually going to go over my origin story. I get asked a lot, how did you do this? Did you study? You know, all this type of stuff. So I'm not going to give any secrets, but so that's the banners that you see behind. I help. I'm also a trained trainer. I worked in vet clinic, so I worked almost 10 years in a wildlife sanctuary and have done a lot with that type of stuff and coexisting in our world. Now I live in California, so coexisting with everything, spiders and snakes and coyotes and that type of stuff, mountain lions. So what we're going to have on the show though is a diverse set of people, in especially this first 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to talk to people that really made a difference in me being a business person and me giving back to these people and really showcasing there's so much help out there to really make a difference.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And you've brought us a wonderful guest today. Do you want to share some information about how you know Mr. James Hayes? Yeah,
James and I things organically I love in my life happen. You talk about have a positive attitude, manifesting is a very big deal. A lot of people are really cluing into it of wanting what you need. I was really fortunate to really, really hit it off with you. And we had so much fun on our first talk that we are here today. So I put out the all call to people that made a difference in my life as I was starting out. And James is a part of this. So I am one of the instructors and part-time in a speaking academy, teaching people to be public speakers. I've been a public speaker since I was probably born. I'm the 5th child of a public speaker, and I have a photograph of me at 9 talking about rattlesnake bites. And my sister, when my parents passed that picture on to me. So I actually have the original picture of me showing how to do a rattlesnake bite and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, there it is. So James is coming from this connection, and I love that transition. And so when I saw him put out an all call of saying, hey, I'd really like to share my story about stuttering, this is really a big deal. Because I know people who really suffer from this and struggle with communication, and that is our world, is communicating, whatever that is. Sign language is something I took for 2 years. So whatever your style of communication is. And I really wanted people to hear his message. And I'm really looking forward to hearing it.
Let's bring him out. And before we do, I just want to encourage people to put comments on social media and call us. If you have a phone, pick up the phone and call. The number is scrolling across the screen. And for our friends at Business Talk Radio, the number is 609-961-1699. James, welcome to the program. It's great to see you. You have to unmute, I think.
James, we can't hear you.
It's always waiting. There he is.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
There we go.
Welcome to the
Hey
program,
guys,
James. Can you share with us where you're calling in from?
I'm calling in from Roseville, Michigan.
From Michigan. Excellent. So Amina was just talking about how you two met. What's your recollection of that? And then I'll turn it over to you, Amina.
So yeah, there was this Facebook group where we were discussing how to become better public speakers and stuff like that. And I believe that either Amina made a post or I made a post, one of those two. But anyways, we went ahead and one of us commented on the post, and I was just like, I have a really good story that I wanted to share about stuttering and whatnot. And she was really happy to have me on her show and everything. So I was like, okay, I probably should get my story out there, because it's really important that people who stutter hear this story, because a lot of them, they kind of struggle with being themselves. They kind of struggle with having hope. And I really just want to pour more hope into this world so that people know that anything is possible regardless of what you've been born with.
And James, that is so true. And with the Speaking Academy, if you haven't heard of it, please look them up. This is a Facebook group that James and I saw. And James, I don't know who authored the post, but you were a comment with Christine and saying that, do you know anybody I could, talk about this with? And I haven't been up on that Facebook post on any regular basis since I taught my class. So to be up there on the time when you posted that note was, to me, prophetic. And I was like, whoa, I don't know who you are, but I really love the topic. It's like, no, because when the world puts you together with somebody, you just know. And yes, do I have a few other gifts in the psychic world? Yeah, I can ask somebody higher than me, but I'm used to hearing that and going, yep. Because there was, I think maybe your headshot was there or something. It didn't matter what you looked like. It was a matter that the topic is so important that people have a voice. It doesn't matter if it's sign language or stuttering or whatever. This is important, and I really appreciate that we met.
And I'm going to solo James. Would you share with us your story? So are you personally, have you struggled with stuttering, or someone you care about has?
For me, I have been stuttering since I was 7 years old. And I've been bullied and picked on for it in every area of my life until my early 20s. So it's literally been one of the things that has really caused a lot of my low self-esteem. Like, I would turn down events because of it. I would absolutely turn on opportunities because of it. And when you're in the world of business, like, you definitely have to overcome stuff like that. You definitely have to really make sure that you're able to overcome these barriers that you once grew up with. But anyways, let me start from the beginning. So back when I was a 7-year-old, I constantly had a stuttering issue. And I would really get picked on for it by my family. It was like an inside joke. And every single day, my father, he would tell me, James, what are you supposed to do? And then I'd be like, what am I supposed to? What am I supposed to? What am I supposed to? And I could never get it out correctly. And he would just make a big joke out of it. And everyone would wind up laughing. Like, I know, like, it didn't have any bad intent behind it or whatever, but stuff like that, it definitely sticks with you. And it definitely makes you question, like, okay, who am I? Why am I born like this? Why can't I just be like everybody else and whatnot? So fast forward to around like my middle school years, we get into the point where I'm talking to other kids at a lunch table, and I wanted to go sit with them. And unfortunately, I was feeling really stuttery that day. Yes, stuttery is a word. Look it up in the dictionary. And I went ahead and I asked them, hey guys, can I go over there and sit at your lunch table? And they literally laughed at me and rejected me. They stared me in the eye really blankly. Like, what is this kid on? Like, is he okay? Like, does he have something going on? Is there something not going on up there? And they really treated me like an alien. It was really one of the most defining moments of my life where I really felt like, maybe I am different. Maybe I am weird. Maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe I should be somebody else. And It was very painful though, and that was also the start of my social anxiety as well though. Like when you have stuff like that that happens when you're really young, it sticks with you. And because of that, I went ahead and sat at a lunch table by myself for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months throughout the year. And it just really ate at me. It really was something that made me feel like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be around people. Maybe I should be more introverted. And that really was one of the moments that forced me to really be an introvert as well, though. I really didn't know how to extrovert myself. And I really was repressing some of my emotions. I didn't know how to process my emotions, didn't know how to process my feelings. And it definitely held me back in several areas of my life. And I just don't want anybody else to have to go through that because it is very painful. Very painful.
So what is the transition? Bring us up to the epiphany. I assume there's my assumption that there's a point where you say, no more, I am valued, I am enough, or you had a mentor that stepped in, or where was that change?
Gotcha. Now, I was pretty much stuck with stuttering until around 20 or 21 years old. And I had this retail job in Walmart. And I found that, just having a little job like that, just little customer service jobs can definitely help you improve your communication skills. But I still struggled immensely while I was there. And on this one day, I had this job where I was supposed to be a door greeter. And I was supposed to let the security guards know, like if someone was caught stealing and whatnot. And this one day, lo and behold, there was this one man with this cart with a 40-inch TV in it, just running through the entrance. I'm sitting up here trying to stop him, like, hey, sir, can I check your receipt? Can I check your receipt? He's out of there. He's like, boom, boom, boom. And then, I go onto my walkie-talkie because I'm supposed to tell the security guards, hey, I see this guy stealing over here. And unfortunately, I kind of panicked because I really wasn't prepared to deal with crises and stuff like that. And I wasn't able to actually convey the message. And unfortunately, because of that, he got away. So a thief literally got away because I wasn't able to communicate my message, though. And at that point, I was like, okay, enough is enough. I need to fix this. I need to overcome this. I'm not going to let this hassle me through my life. And basically what I did was I went onto YouTube and I learned pretty much everything I could about overcoming stuttering and all these new tactics and techniques and all that stuff. And I found that stuff, it works a little bit, but what I have found the most is meditation. Meditation and spirituality, really raising your vibrations, becoming a higher vibrating person. That right there has definitely helped me the most.
That's amazing.
Fascinating. I practice meditation and I'm certified. I had no idea that's, thank you for sharing that. By the way, we have to take a break. So when we come back, let's start out with that piece, with the meditation piece. We'll be right back here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah live on Business Talk Radio and social media. Stay with us.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, We see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah and our guest, James Hayes. So nice to have you back. You were just sharing your transparency, your struggle, your journey of what life has been like, what it was like with stuttering. And you talked about meditation as being very helpful. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I personally feel when I have really high vibrations, when my vibes are really high, I feel that I can speak my most confident. And I feel when I have really low vibes and I feel like something really bad is going to happen, then that's when I speak my worst. I feel that that's when I stutter the most. That's when I have like the most speech imperfections. So I've always been the kind of guy that was always in touch with my vibrations and my vibes.
Wonderful. And just one more question, Aminah, and then I'll turn over to you. So James, I'm wondering, now that you're sharing this publicly, how do you feel?
I feel absolutely wonderful. I definitely was in a place where I had really low self-esteem, where I wouldn't even think of going on camera. I wouldn't even be able to speak to anyone. Like I literally was so ashamed of myself, had so much low self-esteem at one point. But when I found and got in touch with my spiritual side, everything started to just flow naturally. I was able to just organically be myself. I was able to just allow my words to flow the way that they truly want to flow. And that's my biggest message, is to make sure that your vibrations are very high and keep your vibes as high as possible.
That's a beautiful share. Thank you.
That is. I mean, that's perfect. And my encouragement is, please share with somebody how. This is the biggest question I always get is, can anybody learn to be a pet psychic? That's going to be discussed later another time. But I'd like you to address the same question. How do you get your vibration? Because if you'd have asked me like 6, 7, 8 years ago, I would have gone, well, that sounds great, but how do you do that? Do you go down to Walmart and say, I'd like a higher vibration? Please tell me some. You please give us an idea of how you found out how to meditate and how to quiet your mind and all the negativity that was coming in, because every time you had to make a living, you had to speak to somebody.
That's exactly true. In this world, communication is everything. And now with COVID, we're all like spaced out 6 feet apart. We definitely have to get in touch with our online stuff. We definitely have to adjust to technology and really spice up our communication skills in this day and time. But for me, the thing that has helped me raise my vibrations the most was actually not only doing guided meditations on YouTube, but also using subliminal audios. So if you're familiar with subliminal audios, these are basically audios that help you reprogram your mind so that you're able to live the life and become the person that you truly wish to be. And one in particular subliminal maker that I love the most, his name is Hypno Daddy. His YouTube channel has been running for like 5-6 years, and his subliminals are absolutely wonderful. They have changed my life. They have given me the courage to start a business. They have allowed me to improve my communication skills, improve my low self-esteem. I was really able to transform as a person because of his subliminals. So that's really, really key. In addition to that, I also do guided meditations by Tony Robbins. And I also kind of branch into Hinduism as well, though. So there's this one goddess in the Hindu religion. Her name is Goddess Lakshmi. And there's this one chant. It goes, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. And what that chant means is you are chanting for wealth, love, happiness, and peace. So I was doing a lot of these chants and a lot of these subliminals and a lot of these meditations, and these things allowed me to gain more control over my mind and therefore gain more control over my speech.
Wow.
Now, did this happen overnight?
No, let me tell you right now, it did not happen overnight. I started listening to the subliminals in like 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. And I really just experimenting with them. Like I was trying to see which one was going to work the most, which one was definitely going to give me the best result. And after all these years of testing and trying, I finally found the combination that works the best for me. So just loving it so far.
And I think that's the power message. I think, Dr. Jacalyn, you would agree. Do you. Whatever you is, I couldn't say it louder or prouder, and you are walking that, James, of saying, wait a minute, this is what's going to work for me, or this is not going to work for me. Everybody has an idea how to run a business or the right things to do or not to do. And you have to sometimes wait for your time. For me, case in point is Dr. Jacalyn's show. Everybody and their brother told me for 5 to 10 years, you got to have a podcast, you got to have this, you got to have Facebook, you got to have this. And I'm like, I don't want to, I don't want to be there. And this is the great part of joining with her, is this was the time. It was the right platform with the right person. And you're finding that too. And now we need to get you on the TED Talks, and we need to get you out there speaking, right?
Yes, I cannot wait to do a TED Talk. That's been one of my biggest goals, biggest dreams. And see, the thing is, my company, the name of it is Fit Fluency. And the truth is, it's actually a company where you can learn languages. Like that was my first aim. And then I transitioned into basic communication. And then I transitioned over into stuttering, because stuttering was something that I personally had a hard time doing. But I've always had this bucket list goal of giving a TED Talk in many different languages. So in Spanish and Japanese. And a whole bunch of languages. I just really wanted to communicate my points to my followers, and I really wanted to show people that it is possible to become a polyglot, even if you grow up with the speech impediment. So there's a little bit of a double dynamic here. So we're not only just doing the stuttering stuff, but we're also doing the language learning as well, though.
James, do you have a goal set as to when you want to do the TED Talk?
Yes. I would love to do it probably in March. Yeah, March or April, somewhere around there, whenever you guys are available or whenever a spot opens up. I would love to get up there, share my message, and really get in touch with these people and just show them that you can grow up with a stutter and you can still do things that people think you would never be able to do.
Incredible. Yeah, so just for clarification, so we are not affiliated with TED Talks, and I think you have to go through an application process. Right. Do you know, Aminah? I don't know.
Yeah, I do. I'm in the application process. It's very lengthy. And, everything's virtual now. So from talking to other people, Christine with the Academy, she's got experts that have talked about being on TED Talks, that actually have been on TED Talks. So I would look up her videos on the Academy. And as you said, YouTube, there's a plethora of people that will walk you through the application process. It's all about the words that you use, the title you use, and now all of that kind of stuff. Because, of course, they want some really interesting dynamics and that kind of stuff. So really just do your homework. And that's what we were all doing. And it takes a long time because they get a lot of applications. There are coaches that just specialize in getting people on TED Talks. So absolutely Google it, as my daughter would say.
I've interviewed a number of people who have done not only one TED Talk, but 2 TED Talks. So I can actually refer you to people too, to give you some guidance and what their experience was like. I always think it's good to talk to somebody who's been around the corner where you want to go, and they can tell you what to expect.
Yep. What vehicle to drive and what tools to use and that kind of stuff. You'll save a lot of time from wasting time. And that's what I got from all the education. And some of the coaches are absolutely invaluable. And again, you got to pick the right one for you.
Very true. It's time for us to take another break. So stay with us. We will be right back with Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
for children's books to embrace the imagination, to inspire your kids to be the best they can be and to love themselves? Look no further. Children's author DianeFloydBain.com. You'll find the books right there and on Amazon and local stores.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Guess what? We're back. Here we are on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah and our guest James, and we are live streaming on Business Talk Radio and social media. So, Aminah, you have this great connection with James. Where do you think that this partnership is going to go?
Well, you know what? I'm going to support James in whatever he decides to do. So, James, with both, I can hopefully speak for Dr. Jacalyn also. We want to hear from you. If you're on LinkedIn, we're both on LinkedIn and, of course, Facebook and YouTube. So can't wait to see your next video and all that kind of stuff. So really, really looking forward to what is next for you. Do you have a plan yet?
Gotcha. Well, this journey of helping people overcome their stutter and also helping myself overcome my own stutter has been absolutely wonderful. I started this journey back in March of 2020, and it's been absolutely wonderful. And I've been able to help other people overcome some of their speech blocks. I've been over to help myself get my speech together as well. And I really feel as though this journey has been absolutely incredible. For my next challenge for 2021, I was really thinking maybe I should go ahead and go into the language learning space. So for 2021, my big goal is going to help people improve their fluency in different languages, preferably Spanish.
There you go.
I love that.
California, we have a lot of that.
Yeah. James, I have a question for you, and I think this is really important when we think about negativity in the world, right?
Yes.
When we know there are still people out there who love to make fun of other people, right? They like to go down the negative path, and that's their own issue. But when you confront someone like this, or if you come across someone like this who's negative or making fun of you or someone else, how do you deal with it?
Gotcha. Now, when it comes to negative people, they are literally some of the hardest bugs to squash. But you definitely have to squash them for sure. Me, personally, I've always tried to not associate with them. I will either ignore them because you don't want to let them bring them down to your level. Like, you definitely don't want to let them bring you down to their level. You definitely do not want to let them knock you off your rocker. You definitely do not want to let them make you out to be someone that you're not to be, because that's what they want. Like, when someone is negative, they're looking for drama. They're looking for some kind of reaction, some kind of an emotion. They're definitely looking for some way to make you mad. And if you just leave them alone, or if you refuse to engage with them, that right there is the thing that makes them the most upset, because they're not getting what they want. And they are absolutely frustrated that they can't get you to go into this mode where you're a bit mad, or where you're a bit negative as well. So you definitely have to not give them what they want, and just do not engage with them whatsoever. Because you don't have the time for that. Nobody has the time for that. Those people are definitely just looking for people to bring down to their level. And you don't want to be the person that falls for it. Like, they're setting up some kind of a trap. Don't fall for it. Go around it. Absolutely evade it at all costs.
Well said. Aminah, what are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. I am in a field that is considered the woo-woo place. And I kept it to myself for more years than we're going to claim that I am. Again, March 5th, I'm going to talk about that whole origin and how terrifying. So James, this is why your story resonates with me, because it's terrifying to change and then say, okay, I'm going to own it, but I'm also going to put it out there publicly. So you're saying, you stutter, and you're talking about the tough time, and I'm going to talk about something that, again, I don't really think I can quantify. I can't hold up my degree and say, and this is in Psychic 101, this is 102, and this is my master class. I don't know of any of those classes. And are they out there? Yeah, they absolutely are. But I was born this way. So people ask me, well, what's it like to be a psychic? And I said, I don't know. You're asking me what it's like to be a white girl. I don't know the answer to that. It just is who you are. So going public is a really scary big deal. And James, you're doing what is the best we can do, is to give that gift back and say, I have walked the tough walk, or been that scared, or gotten to the place where you speak beautifully.
Yes, you do.
There's no hesitation in your language. So I have to take you at your word, the same as people have to do with me, and say, okay, I have to put my trust out and say, okay, sure, you stuttered. Produce the video, because I don't believe you, because you sound fabulous.
You really do.
A lot of work on your behalf. That's to your credit. So if anybody comes to attack you, James, and there will be, as you go public more and more and more, as Jacalyn knows, all this kind of stuff, it's just like, you didn't wear the right shirt, or your glasses are weird, or I don't know, they don't like your goatee. Who cares? Because you have to own you and say, I'm going to show up genuinely, with compassion, and with the true intention, and everybody else I just don't need, and we'll just unfollow them or whatever is healthy for us. And I've had to do the same as you have, because I can't quantify it. You, again, speak so beautifully. I would, any time I would interact with you, it would be, no, he did what? I would never have guessed.
Yeah, Aminah, you brought up a really good point. I think it's great that you brought that to light also, is that the more you get out there, James, and share your story, the more somebody wants to knock you down.
Yep.
And they want to knock you down because they're jealous, because they're used to seeing you this way, and now you're this way. And so just stay strong. I know you will, because you have such a great message, and you do speak beautifully. You've got a great presence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. That is so true. Oh my God. The world of business is literally a jungle, and everybody has pitchforks. Everybody has something out there to try to stick you with. So you got to be careful, because they will come, and they will come with a vengeance. But as I've said, if your vibes are high, if your mindset is high, and you're in touch with your spirituality, then they cannot stop you. But you have to be in touch with your spiritual side. You have to raise your vibrations and keep your mindset strong at all times.
I love it. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and keeping people healthy around you. The good souls that you can feel, and you'll get better at it if you're not yet. Because sometimes when you're just coming out of any kind of recovery, you still haven't figured out. And I've heard about this from drug addiction to alcoholism to, emotional problems and this type of stuff, is you don't know where the good people are yet. You haven't learned all the identifiers. You'll get there. And there is some stumbling, but I'll tell you, if you scrape knees, you don't forget.
And Aminah, you bring up a good point, and I want to hear what James has to say about this too. But it feels like now, since I've been interviewing hundreds of people, I can get a sense pretty quickly if that person is a good soul. Like you and I connected right away, and I could tell James called on the phone because I didn't send out an email so we would know how to get into the broadcast, and I could just tell by talking to you on the phone you were a good person.
You put out what you get. You put out love, You put out honesty, and it will bounce back off people who can't absorb that or who aren't ready. And sometimes they'll come back into your life, and sometimes you just say, no, I'm good. You go over there.
Exactly.
Play with those people, because I'm gonna.
Right.
Not for me. Not today. We're out.
And gosh, for the next 8 years, I'm gonna be busy, really busy. Doing what? I don't know. I'll find something.
Yeah, I think that's really a true statement. My father used to tell me that when somebody shows you who they are, and you can tell they're not of high integrity or good character, they're going to keep coming up in your life. They're going to keep testing you. It's like a bad penny, I guess the expression is, but they keep showing up. It's like, hey, what are you doing here again? I told you I don't want anything to do with you. But then you have the strength to just keep moving forward, as opposed to in the past, maybe you'd be drawn in. At least that was my thing. I'd always be drawn in by people who were not good influences. And now it's like, I don't have the time for any of that.
Yeah. That is so true. And I really want to encourage everybody to, hear James' message, and hopefully Dr. Jacalyn and myself we've made it, but we worked really hard to be here where we are. James, any final statements, words, all this kind of stuff? I want to kind of switch topics, but I want to make sure that there's anything else you want to share.
Oh yeah, one last thing. I noticed your show is called Rapping with Jacalyn, and that's really crazy because one of the things that I have found to help my speech and overcome my stutter was through freestyle rapping. And I find that that's one of the things that's really cool, because it forces you to come up with something on the spot. And the better you can come up with something on the spot, I feel like that's probably the better you can speak. So you really have to get good at speaking on the spot, though. And I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do a little bit on the spot here. So,
all right.
Yo, we got our girl, Dr. Jacalyn. Everybody in the club, it is Jacalyn. Get out her way, because she be tackling, and you can make sure that she will get you in the hackling. Make sure, it doesn't matter if it makes sense or not, though, but you definitely just want to.
But it sounds good.
Right.
As long nobody ever did a rap for me.
As long as it's in the flow, it's really good.
I love it. Nobody ever did a rap for me. That's terrific. Thank you.
Yes. Buy my album.
It's a whole 30 seconds long.
Yeah. Look out.
Price, one dime.
Young money, I'm coming for the game. The game is mine. I've already won. Okay. I've already won the game. The game is already mine. You guys know.
Yeah.
It's already mine.
And I really want to end on, James, your message is you've already won. That I think is the most powerful thing. We can wrap up everything is we've already won. All three of us. We're where we are today because we already won. And whatever's next is great, but congratulations. And keep up with the Academy. She's got some great classes.
I sure will.
James, for our listeners,
we need a break for commercial.
Yes, I was just going to say, for our listeners on Business Talk Radio, can you please give your contact information, James?
Yes. If you guys are looking for help with stuttering or other communication difficulties, reach out to me on my website, fitsonfluency.com. You can also give me a phone call at 586-596-8221. I would be happy to help you overcome your stuttering or whatever issues you're having with your communication at this time.
And James, let's spell that for our listeners. FITONFLUENCY.com.
That is correct. Yep.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. We are going to take a break and have a commercial, and then we'll be right back. So stay with us. Here's a little educational piece that I think is really interesting. It's about an online mobile platform of how people can learn on the go. Take a look.
Meet the modern learner. Like most of us, the modern learner is short on time, on the go, and wants to learn on their terms and device of choice. The key is to meet them whenever and wherever they may be. The solution? best-in-class content served up by the Engagement mobile learning platform, where the modern learner is at the center of the learning experience. For example, they can receive a text message that alerts them to a new learning module. They simply tap, watch, read and engage, or play a fun learning game. We transform your content into modules that are timely, accurate, academically rigorous, yet engaging and robust. Personality motivators are blended with modern adult learning principles to make it faster and more natural to absorb the content and have fun while learning. Our cutting-edge platform offers something for everyone. It can be an immersive experience where learners explore and engage based on what's relevant to them in that moment, or they can follow a set curriculum, earning badges and tracking points toward a credit or goal, or they can dive deeper into high-value professional content relating to their topic of interest. It's binge learning at its best. All this, along with an entire portfolio of real-time usable data and KPIs for stakeholders. Imagine, share up-to-the-minute news, enhance current curriculum, build knowledge banks, drive sales, and foster community in the push of a button. To learn more or see a demo, please contact support@engagement.com.
My stomach issues make me want to stay home, but that's not an option. No matter how prepared I am, I still feel nervous. Enough is enough.
If this sounds familiar, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation can offer you support and connect you with a specialist.
Don't keep your symptoms to yourself. Get help at spillyourguts.org today.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents pet psychic Aminah and our special guest James. Aminah, I'm going to turn it over to you. Looks like you have a friend there, and I know you have some announcements that you want to make going forward.
Well, this is my granddaughter, Rin, and I'm babysitting during pandemic. So she came to say hi. She wants to know what I'm doing still sitting in this chair. So I want to encourage everybody to keep listening in. We're going to have all types of guests from all types of fields and a lot of different subject matters and that type of stuff. And I'm going to sprinkle it with some pet psychic stuff as we go on. And I want to encourage you for next week, February 19th, Carla is joining us, and Carla Frank and I did a workshop, and we're going to talk about being safe with your pet. We're really going to talk a lot about hiking and biking and walking and all the things you do. She does a walking group, and a couple of times, I don't know if anybody's experienced this, you walk down the street and somebody's dog is loose in their yard and they run out to attack your dog. This was happening not only on our walks, but when my children were very small, we were walking home from the store and somebody's dog came out, and my children were probably about 4 and 5. So I want to give you some techniques, how to be safe, how to protect yourself. how to handle your pets on a walk. Carla is going to talk about, water safety. She's got this amazing tip. If you go hiking in a rural place, and we're in a place where we have these amazing oaks and these huge fields to go walking. If you've ever been around Gilroy, California, it's just beautiful up in the hills. But there are wild boar, there are mountain lions, and if you're taking a dog with you, there are serious considerations. I gotta remember, Jacalyn, if I forget, to talk about the note that you're gonna leave in your car. And it really protects you. So we've got some really, really fun stuff coming up next Friday with Carla Frank, and going to talk about those types of things. Then Jill is going to come, and that's the 2 weeks from now. And we're going to talk a lot about, and I love that James brought this up today, we're going to talk about manifestation. We're going to talk about, moving in a good vibration. And Jill is really going to talk about that. But we're also, with Jill's comfort and her permission, of course, I'm going to talk about how I was working with her pets just, a couple weeks ago. So she's up for a big move and had some behavior issues. We're going to talk, hopefully, whatever she's comfortable with sharing on getting through those conversations. Because what an animal sees as an issue and we see as an issue, it's not necessarily the same issue. I've had a dog say, well, he smells, but he's mine. And the gentleman had a medical condition and he kind of smelled bad. We're going to talk over the time. If your animal comes up and keeps bumping you, for example, for a woman, this is pretty well documented in the breast or something like that. Go to the doctor, like now, because an animal can smell cancer and or diseases. They know when you're going to have a seizure. That's why animals who are care animals and support animals are so important to get somebody down to the ground before they faint, before they collapse or hit a chair and that type of stuff. Now, March 5th, I am going to have the whole hour and we're going to talk about my origin. What was it like being born with the gift and having 4 older siblings? What did I do and how was it coming forward and the people that helped me? What's really neat is as we get into March, I've got Dottie Boone coming on March 12th, and she specializes in people who have passed away. She's actually helped me a lot when somebody I was no longer friends with actually passed away this last year, and she figured I was her go-to because her daughter was getting married translator, and I needed more powerful help than I was capable of giving because I was emotionally attached to the situation. And Dottie really walked me through how to say no and just say, no, you don't get to be here. Everybody has free will, and I have the free right to say, no, I'm not going to talk to your daughter while you've passed and she's getting married. So we're going to really get into really some fun things. Sean Emler's going to come on March 19th, and he is a shaman. And he's got an amazing Native American stories and background. So again, March 26th, Oscar, who helped me craft a lot of where I am. The gentleman whose workshop helped me make these posters is going to come later. So we've just got a lot of really fun stuff. And then as we move into April, going to hopefully I'm playing with the idea of opening it up to questions from the audience. Just a lot of really fun stuff, Jacalyn, coming up.
Sorry, I muted us while you were talking.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, that sounds exciting.
That was the exciting pause.
I love it. No, that's great. We want to have great guests like James. We want to have the audience excited about who it is that's coming on. So that's wonderful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so many. I just really wanted to highlight that we are going to bring in more of the psychic stuff, because I know it's being asked about, because that's in my title. So the kickoff really is going to be that March 5th, where I really will go into who I am and what my life has been like. Yeah, I get asked a lot, how did you know, or where did you study? I get asked this on a regular basis, and that kind of stuff. So, and everybody, and James, and you touched on this, everybody's in a grow. Everybody's in a movement. What I would love to ask Dottie is, so she's my guru on anything dead, died, expert, because, she's in her upper echelon years, and she's been doing this since she, as far as I know, since she was born. She has heard people that has passed, and she has amazing stories, which we'd need her on like 10 times. And hopefully I can get some of these people on multiple times over months, where she goes to historical landmarks. And especially if they're war landmarks where people haven't moved on, they're still earthbound. And so she helps them do that transition and say, no, this is not where you should be. You should have moved on, but they didn't know about the transition. So her breadth of experience is just amazing. And somebody I'm really looking forward to is Joy C. Brown. I finally got her on the calendar. I don't see her date, so I apologize. I don't have that right in front of me. But she is from the Deep South and moved out here, of course, when in her 20s. And her life history and her experience with psychics and stuff like that is just, she's hilarious. Jacalyn, you are going to love her. She is absolutely hilarious. Her candor, her flat way of just saying, no, we ain't gonna do that. I absolutely adore these people, because not just radio, but she could be on a little mic in a little room, and I know I would be glued to it, because she involves you with her passion and her real life experiences, having grown up as a sharecropper's daughter and moving to California and getting to hear this over a few years now. I've been lucky enough to listen to her speak. These are the people I have coming and are on
most
my
exciting. Most exciting. And I do want to share, as we come to the top of the hour, if people are interested in being a guest on this show, you just have to do one thing. Go to drjacalyn.com and you'll find book your session. You can go right to Pet Psychic Aminah, and you can book right there. We'll get notified that you're going to be on the show. So it's actually time for us to wrap up. This hour has just flown by. James, I'm glad that you're still here with us. If you could give some final words of encouragement to our audience, and also how can we reach you?
All right, awesome. So the biggest thing I want everyone to know is to raise your vibrations, get in touch with your spiritual side. That stuff is not bullshit. That stuff is real. You definitely need to go onto YouTube, educate yourself about your spiritual side. Now believe that everything else will fall out in your favor. And if you guys would like to contact me, my phone number is 586-596-8221. And my website is fitonfluency.com. That's FITONFLUENCY.com.
And James, the phone number again, a little slower.
Yeah, 586-596-8221.
Okay. He doesn't have a slow gear, I think.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And anybody who wants to reach me, bridgingworlds.us. That is where we are at. If you want to know anything about me or where I'm speaking next, please go to bridgingworlds.us. Love to hear from you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So it's time to close out the show. And what I just like to say is thank you, everyone, for your loyalty and your support and for being here. We have another program coming up right after this. It's Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. You can find out our schedule every week if you go to drjacalyn.com. We have between 8 and 11 shows every week and growing. So thanks for your loyalty and for supporting us. We appreciate you. So that's a wrap for today, and we'll see you next time.
See you next
Take
Friday.
Care.
Bye. Bye, guys.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.